Welcome to the final chapter of our founder series with Max Kunik, co-founder of Wingman Kitchens. In this episode, we zoom out, looking at where the brand is headed, how it scales, and what it takes to build lasting infrastructure in the future of food. If you've been following this arc, please make sure to follow the show, leave a review, and share the series with someone building something bold. That's how these stories keep moving. Let's get into it. Max, when you look ahead, what does the future of Wingman Kitchens look like?
Yeah, I mean, the future of Wingman Kitchens is built in a couple phases, we believe. One's market expansion. So right now we're in Austin and Houston. We still think there's room to grow in Houston, so we can foresee at least one other location opening up. And then going into markets like San Antonio, El Paso, McAllen, different places. We're looking at Central and South Texas for our growth pattern. And then, just kind of modularizing and figuring out how to keep our model consistent and the way that we interact with our customers consistent and keep on improving technologies. Right now, we have a great platform of technologies that we use in order to make sure everything runs smooth. But as technology continues to get better, as it does every day, it seems, we want to keep implementing that because even though food isn't high tech, we want to make sure that we're being as efficient as possible and making sure that our clients have access to that as well.
How do you maintain your mission and your values as you scale?
I mean, I think it comes from the top for me and making sure that we're making the right hires and making sure that everyone's on board with our mission, our goals. And really the mission's always going to be providing affordable kitchen space and providing the best service that we can for the clients that we host. And so as long as that's top of mind and it's not how do we make the most money and, nickel and dime people and figure out how we can increase our bottom line everywhere, while that is a focus, that's not the main goal here. The goal is we understand where our clients are coming from and where they're at, and we're trying to appeal to them and recruit them and make sure that their experience is as good as possible. Because at the end of the day, word of mouth marketing is the best marketing, and the people in food, at least what we've seen, that's where we get most of our clients is through people talking about us, and that's where we find the most quality. Sure, people find us on Google too, but it's mostly people talking to people, and once they understand who we are and what we're about, they tend to come our way.
What would you say it is about the business that keeps you up at night?
Keeps us up at night. It's really how do we scale smart? How do we make sure that we're making all the right all the right moves on potentially finding new spaces or new projects that we can focus on with new partners and making sure that the bills go through every month? That's really what keeps us up at night. If we have a bad month, I'm not going to lie and say that every month is peachy. That's just not the life of a business owner. So there's definitely some months that are down months, and that's what keeps me up is I want to make sure that we're paying everything that we need to pay, as long because us doing what we need to do for our customers, that's for me is the easier part. The harder part is, okay, how do you correlate that to making sure the financials are looking good and paying off everything that needs to get paid? Because starting this it's not cheap, and that's why our model works, is because it's not cheap to do what we do. So every time we open a new space or look at a new space, we have to really understand what the costs are going to be and how fast we can pay that off and pay it back before it takes us under, really.
You've been through a few brands and a lot of pivots. What have you learned through building Wingman Kitchens?
Yeah, Wingman Kitchens, the main thing that I've learned from Wingman Kitchens is that markets are so different. When you look at the Austin market, it's very, very different than the Houston market. And we're serving the exact same clientele. It's the way people interact with each other in each market is just different. And the best example that I could provide is in Austin, people always want to collaborate. It's a city that is built on artists, and artists collaborate. Even though it's a city now, it still has the same ethos as everyone wants to collaborate and talk to each other. Where Houston, that's a city that's built on oil and medicine and immigrants, which is all great things that won't make it Houston unique. those people aren't sharing people, and they've all been wronged in different ways, and it's a lot harder for them to share. So when we first opened the Houston market, we're like, well, nobody's doing what we're doing in Houston. Why is this not just hitting? And it was people had to build trust and understand that just because you're making the best hummus doesn't mean that the person next to you is going to steal your hummus recipe. And that's the reality is like being in a shared space, that's a risk, but that shouldn't be a concern in a space like ours. You need to focus on your product or whatever you're doing. And then if you can collaborate or learn something from the person next to you, that's great. But you shouldn't have to worry that someone's stealing what you're doing. And it's taken a while for that to resonate and hit. And I think we're finally making strides after basically a year and a half of being in Houston to showcase, hey, this kind of space works and this is why, and you really don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. And I know that San Antonio is going to present a totally different challenge of what makes it unique.
Absolutely. So you bring a unique perspective there. I wonder if you'd like to share with us any advice that you have for other operators trying to build infrastructure or new formats in crowded industries in general.
Let's see, what kind of sound advice can I give? I mean, I think it's always about doing your market research and then getting clients in place before opening for us. And I think for a lot of companies is essential. For us, we're always trying to have an anchor tenant before we move into a space. That way we can build around it. And I don't think that's industry agnostic. All right. I don't think that's what is just for our industry. I think that's for anyone. Is just making sure you have an anchor tenant or an anchor customer to build around.
Max, it has been awesome having you in our Founders Series. Final question, where can people stay in the loop as Wingman Kitchens grows?
Yeah. So people can stay in the loop through our social media at Wingman Kitchens, and hopefully one day we'll have a more of a blog that we'll start posting through our website. But right now, staying in touch through our social media is where you're going to see everything that we're doing. I also did want to mention, which I didn't touch on, and this was my mistake, is the project that we're working on in San Antonio as part of our growth. It's meant to be our full vision is to have a full CPG hub. And I want this to be for your network because I think this is the network that we're trying to build here is a CPG hub where people can go from shared kitchen to shared fill room to private manufacturing space that's linked to a large warehouse. That way you can have everything all in one space and with offices that have service providers to be able to help and assist you. That's kind of the project that we're working on in San Antonio. And I'm hopeful that, the GoodVibes ecosystem will be participating in some way, if not just being a part of it and seeing what we're doing. And we'll have brands that hopefully will be on this podcast and be a part of that ecosystem as well.
Absolutely. And we're very excited to continue telling that story and being a part of what you're doing as well. We appreciate your time, Max. That is a wrap on our 3-part arc with Max Kunik. To our listeners, if this series helped you think bigger about what's possible in your space, follow the show, share it with a friend, and keep building with clarity. Until next time, stay strong, stay sharp, stay aligned, and keep up